Russell Swanson.
Simon, how you doing?
I'm good, yourself?
I'm well, thanks.
Well, that's not true really, is it? Because you've not been playing for a wee while.
Well, that's true. I'm actually waiting for a hernia operation at the moment, Simon. So I've not played for must be a couple of months now.
Yeah.
So it's a bit frustrating.
You struggled on for a wee while with it as well, didn't you? You were really struggling latterly.
The last game I played was that tournament.
When we won the cup?
When we won the cup. Well, I need to mention
You
that.
need to mention that. I've got the
we-
cup just over there.
Have you got it?
Tell us about that. How did that go, Russell?
So you've stopped sleeping with the cup? Aye.
That's a lie.
Honest. Aye, winning the cup was good, so...
That was the over 65s.
That's right, so I don't ever get another game. My last game was winning the cup. So.
And it's a shame because that got us into the Champions League.
I know, and you
Next month.
promoted me to manager now, you know, so that's alright.
Keep you involved.
Keep me involved, I know a sympathy vote, Simon.
So that's 2 or 3 months maybe since then. In fact, it was October we won that. How's it been without walking football then, Russell?
Well, it's probably been pretty frustrating, but Drew, one of the coaches, phoned
Drew
me
Wilson?
up. Drew Wilson, he phoned me up and asked him to give him a hand with the Parkinson's. There's a Parkinson's group that he's doing
On the Thursdays?
on a Thursday, and he's also doing a dementia group on a Wednesday. So that's definitely filled a void for me, you know. And it's up to now. Over the last 4 years I've been playing this game, all I've done is turned up, played, paid my money, everything's been done for me, you know, and it's been absolutely brilliant, you know, as you know, you've been doing most of it. So it's a wee chance to put something just back in, but it's really good for me as well, because it's really rewarding. I get as much out of it as what the guys get out of it, you know.
This is the dementia session and the Parkinson's session.
The Parkinson's session, aye.
That's funny, Russell, because I did, Matt asked me to cover a session on a Saturday morning. I think it was Drew that did it, but Drew was on holiday or whatever, and it was youngsters, it was teenagers who've got learning difficulties and different problems in their lives, and their parents would bring them along to Scotstoun on a Saturday morning, and it was just facilitating a wee game. I did a wee bit of drills with them, and some shooting practice, and then we had a game of football for an hour, and they absolutely loved it, but I got more from it than they did. I told Matt that. It was so rewarding doing it. There was a guy, Dylan there, I don't know if you ever met Dylan with the glasses, and he never communicated with anyone, and he high-fived me that day when he scored a goal, and that was like some reward for being there, you know.
Well, we get good, and it is rewarding because we get good feedback from the actual Parkinson's group themselves, you know. They come up and they appreciate what you've been doing for them as well. And as far as the dementia goes, it's absolutely brilliant as well. Although they can't really communicate that well with you, you can see from their body language, you know, that they're really enjoying
engaged
it, you
in
know,
it,
and then we have a wee session afterwards.
A wee memory session,
session, aye. And we show them pictures and stuff like that, you know. And it's amazing their face can light up when, especially with a Rangers supporter or a Celtic supporter. Oh, that's Johnny Hubbard there, you know.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So
I remember when my father was in a care home not long before he died, and I took my kids to see him, and he didn't know the kids. He thought I was my brother. So you can see what problems he was having. But my son said to him, "Granda, were you in Lisbon in 1967? And it came back like that. He named a team and started talking about Lisbon and getting there and getting back, you know. I think it took him 2 or 3 years to get back, but that's beside the point. So it's amazing the power that we've got here with sport and with football.
Oh, it's fantastic.
How did you first get involved then, Russell?
In the walking football?
Yeah.
Well, when I retired, obviously I left a wee void for me, but at that time I was still involved in running an amateur team,
Okay.
which I've been running for years. But
What team was that?
Rannoch Amateurs.
Okay.
Played, as I say, it was a decent level amateur football, you know. And then
Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning?
Saturday afternoon it was, Saturday afternoon, so, but that folded when I was about 68, and I'd heard about the walking football, so I'm just a bit slow sort of moving, you know, so it took me about another couple of years before I just you know, I hadn't been doing anything. I was really getting a wee bit fed up, you know, the big void after having worked and then having been
running
involved
the team.
with the team.
Yeah,
So
because you're at the training and all that as well.
There's a total void here. So I just phoned up, I think maybe on a Tuesday, and the girl said to me, "There's a session at Glasgow Green tomorrow." So I just went along, and I wish I'd went along 2 years before it now, you know.
Yeah.
But I've never looked back since, you know. And some of the guys I played with at that session, Big Drew was one. He was the very first person I ever spoke to.
Right.
You know, and there's other guys still playing now from that first session. But what I can remember, getting back for that session, I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely exhilarated, Simon, when I went home that day. Yeah. You know, it was
because it's true that exercise gets the endorphins going and all that. It just does. I feel good. You get a shower and you feel it takes you right back to when you were playing sport properly. Plus all the friendships that you make along the way, the banter and all the rest of it. Because you had some health problems around that time as well, Russell, didn't you?
I did actually. I mean, I think I'd hardly ever seen a doctor. I don't even think I had a doctor for a lot of years, you know, till I got to about 71 or something like that, Simon. And then, actually, I'd been playing ball football for a year, absolutely no problem, it was great, you know. And then I started losing my voice.
I saw the shouting at the referee.
When I lost my voice, I went doing well with a lot of the guys, you know, me losing my voice.
Especially the referee.
You know, referees. So they diagnosed a wee lump in my vocal cord, and I had to get radiotherapy for that for a month, and that cleared up. I got my voice back again, and then after that, I had a wee lump in my throat, which they diagnosed as cancerous, so I had to get an operation for that. Right. And the operation went really well, you know, but I've still got to go every month just to get checkups on it. And then I've got my wee hernia now, you know, but...
I think you played through the operations and the radiotherapy.
I did actually, and that's where the Walton football was absolutely fantastic for me during the radiotherapy, because the radiotherapy was probably about 1 o'clock, and I played the Walton football in the morning, and it was absolutely fantastic because from a mental health point of view,
you're not sitting worrying about it.
I'm not sitting thinking about it, and I had no time at all, you know. I think at Tory Glen we finished about 12, session started at 1, so I was dashing over.
No time, brilliant.
The Walton football was amazing for
me. You were talking about everything being laid on. I remember around that time speaking to Jarvis, right?
Oh, John.
He must have been there near the start as well, John. And we were standing before kick-off in the morning session at Tory Glen, and he couldn't get a smile off his face, and he said to me, "Big man, I'm just thinking." And he must be 70 now as well, John. I think he's about ages with you, isn't he?
He's 69.
Right.
John,
And he said to me, "Look at this park we've got here, the Astro Park. You know, it's 4G now." He said, all lined, cones put out, bibs handed to you, and teams picked, and you just start kicking the ball. He said, it's all laid on for us at this age. Imagine we'd had these facilities when we were youngsters, you know, how good we might have been.
Oh, that's amazing.
You used to black ash and all the rest of it that you had to play on. So we've gone back to you starting walking football. Let's go back a lot further. Russell, what did you do for a living?
Oh, I had quite a few jobs, Simon. When I first started out, I served an apprenticeship as an engineer, a fitter, and I worked in the Albion Motors.
Across the road from me.
They built buses at Swanson.
I was in Yarras.
You in Yarras?
Across the road, Billy Connolly used to say that the Albion and Yarras opened their doors and all the schools just sent them every other 4th years to swim in there.
Well, funny you should talk about Yarras. When I did the sort of rounds. I went for the Albion, and then I went to Singers.
Right, yes.
And then I ended up in Yarras. Right. So I ended up in Yarras, but then I get paid off at Yarras. We're just, it was at the time there was no orders and things like that, and they were paying off. So I did a course on driving instruction.
Right.
So I did that for the last 20 years of my
Excellent.
working life. So that was actually the best job in the world.
Away for the tools.
Away for the tools.
Meeting different people all the time.
That was another job that I found quite rewarding, you know, a bit
Yeah.
stressful at times, but pretty rewarding, you know.
You work for yourself?
For a first, I worked for BSM initially, and then the last couple of years,
Your own.
BSM provided the car for me, but I realised when I retired I wasn't going to get a car anymore, so I ended up, I just went out, I got myself a wee car a couple of years before that and just went out myself.
Right.
I worked for the last couple of years, and then I gave me the car, you know.
And where were you from originally, Russell?
I was born in Thurso,
Right. Wow.
north of Scotland.
Just north of here.
Just north of here, aye.
And when did you come down to Glasgow?
Well, my dad worked in a bank,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously it was a wee village. It was a place called Castletown. It was just 5 miles north of Thurso.
Yep.
And my dad worked there, and it was a Clydesdale bank. And then I think he got a letter one day telling him he was getting shifted down to Glasgow. So at that point in time,
No chance.
you don't argue, you know.
Aye.
You either go or you get another job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up moving down when I was about 5 or 6 or something like that.
Okay.
And
That's why you've lost the accent.
oh my God, I go back up there.
Still got family up there. Your brother's up there, though, isn't he?
Aye. Okay. I love getting back up there, Simon. You know, but
It's a beautiful part of the world.
oh, it's really nice.
I'm doing my family tree just now on my granny's side. My mammy's mammy. That's where we go back to, is Helmsdale, right down that coast.
That's right. We'll
Yeah,
get through
Withering
it.
and all these
the way
places.
up,
They're all buried up there. Lathering.
Lathering,
Yeah. That's where they're all buried. Mackenzie's.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that your mother's side?
My mum's mum, yeah.
So they're from that neck of the woods.
Yeah. And she came down to get work. She came down and worked in Helensburgh and met my granda.
But what happened, my mother and father retired. They moved back up
Right.
north. They got a wee house back up in Thurso, you know. So
Lovely.
it never left them, you know. They just went to go back.
Any working football up there?
No, actually,
Too far? I know there is in Aberdeen.
there is in Inverness as well. I've spoke to my brother about it, you know. He's been told of things up there, and he says there's nothing doing at the moment. Actually, he keeps saying about when you come up, you can start a long football team.
Yep.
So,
So what about football then, in between times, between coming down here? What school did you go to?
Bearsden Academy I went
Right.
to.
Oh, tough.
Oh,
Tough.
definitely tough.
Who's your team, Russell?
Oh, with a silver spoon in my mouth.
Who's your team?
Celtic.
Celtic. Celtic. I never knew that. I've known you for 4 years. I never knew you were a Celtic man. You kept that quiet.
Oh,
Or is that just because they're doing all right now? Is it that kind of- So who did you play for over the years then? What was the football going on?
Mostly amateur, Simon. The team actually played when I first started playing with the Albion. We had a good team.
Yeah,
you
so
know,
did
good
Yaris,
amateur
yeah.
team. Yaris
That's where I
had a
got
good
injured.
team, Aye. So I played with the Albion, and then I went to the team Ranach, and I was involved with them for about 42 years.
So you played for them as well, and then took over.
I think I was involved with them for about 40 odd years, 42,
Wow.
43 years.
Where did they play?
Cahoon Park, Bearsden.
Know it well. And what league is that?
They've been in different leagues actually. It started off the West of Scotland Amateur League.
Right.
At that time, that was the strongest amateur league in Scotland, probably. You know, the Scottish Cup winners were
I
coming
played for
to
the
them.
Pollok in the Scottish Amateur, and I played for the pupils in the Scottish Amateur.
The Strathclyde Police.
Yeah.
We played against them one year, and I think it was the 7th round of the West Cup.
Yeah.
And they beat us 2-1, you know.
Right.
And funnily enough, we had a policeman that played with us at the time. And I remember him, you know. And I was running his team actually. I was managing his team. I wasn't playing at the time.
Right.
And I remember him phoning me up, you know. Because
To get a game?
he couldn't get off, you know.
Aye.
And he thought this is what like a police are saying. You know? So he's phoned him up. He says, John, how can you not get off? He says, well, he'll not let me off unless I'm definitely playing.
Brilliant.
Aye.
Well, I had the opposite experience with Strathclyde Police because it was the last game of the season, and I hadn't been playing. I was playing pub team football down in Campbelltown because my knee was gone. I was refereeing, and I got a phone call from the boss of Strathclyde Police team. They were travelling to play the pupils in Campbelltown on the last game of the season.
Played down there as well.
And they had already won the cup. They had already won the league. So, and they could only get 10 to travel down to Campbelltown.
There's a surprise.
So I got a game. I still only got half a game. They must have found somebody else during the course of that. But they'd already won the league, but they never gave me a medal, the buggers.
You used to have good teams of police right enough.
And they had a squad of 6,000. Strathclyde Police had a big squad. And they were toughened by the games we played, because every game we played was at a cup final, because they wanted to get in about us, you know. So it didn't do us any harm at all. They were a real team. You know what I mean? And always. So you hope to be back with us. Have you got any schedule for your operation?
Well, I saw the surgeon and he said to me, he says, well, you definitely need an operation, he said, but because of the COVID we've stopped doing them just now, so it's just a case of waiting, Simon. But it's not caused me any problem apart from not being able to play.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And you become the manager now?
Oh, well, I mean, you've
over 65.
You've promoted me to manager.
Well, the 23rd of February is the Ravenscraig.
I know that.
And I'm expecting to see the trophy cabinet bulging on the 24th of February when you win the Champions League trophy home.
That's fine, Simon, as long as you steer clear a little bit.
I'm running the Glasgow team. I'm sabotaging the Glasgow team. So we'll be alright.
You never told me that one,
Russell, it's been brilliant. Thanks very much for coming along.
Pleasure, mate.
Cheers.